The blue-green glow of strange technology bathed the United Nations Security Council chamber in an otherworldly light. 50 of Earth's most powerful leaders sat in stunned silence as the alien hologram rotated slowly above the center table. It showed a vast region of space marked with swirling danger zones, defense systems, and astronomical hazards. "This is the Crucible," said the alien diplomat. His name was Zorl, and he represented something called the Galactic Council. His skin was pale blue with intricate patterns that shifted with his mood. All species must navigate this region to prove their worth for Council membership. It had been only 3 weeks since the massive alien ship appeared in orbit around Earth. After decades of searching the stars for signs of intelligent life, the aliens had found humanity instead. Lisa Warren sat at the back of the room, her naval captain's uniform crisp despite the late hour. At 42, with short blonde hair graying at the temples, she had not expected to become humanity's first deep space commander. Yet here she was, watching as humanity's future was being decided. "How many ships does a species typically send through this crucible?" asked President Garcia, her voice steady despite the pressure. Zorl's translator device hummed before he spoke. "The Viridians sent 200 vessels. Only 26 survived. The Aquilari sent 93. 17 completed the journey." He paused, his patterns shifting to a deeper blue. "No species has successfully navigated the Crucible with fewer than 12 ships." Admiral Frank Murphy leaned forward. His weathered face had seen decades of naval service, and he knew how to look unfazed, even when outmatched. "And what happens if we decline this challenge?" The aliens' patterns turned cold. "Then Earth remains isolated. No trade, no shared technology, no protection from less welcoming species." Lisa watched as the military and political leaders exchanged glances. Earth had just begun exploring its own solar system. The technology gap between humans and the Galactic Council was enormous. "We'll need time to prepare a fleet," said Defense Secretary Patel. "Our best ships aren't designed for the challenges you've described." Zorl nodded. "You have 1 Earth year. Most species take several years to prepare their fleets." The meeting continued for hours as the alien answered questions about the Crucible. Lisa took careful notes, her mind already racing with the challenges ahead. As an experienced Navy pilot, she understood what it meant to navigate dangerous territory, but this was beyond anything humanity had faced. After the alien delegation departed, the human leaders remained to discuss their options. "We'll need to repurpose our entire space program," said NASA's director. "Even then, building enough ships to have a reasonable chance of success would be nearly impossible in just 1 year." Admiral Murphy had been unusually quiet. Now he stood up and walked to the holographic display. "What if we send just 1 ship?" he said. The room erupted in protests. "1 ship? Did you not hear what they said?" Defense Secretary Patel's voice rose above the others. "No species has completed this with fewer than 12 ships." "With respect," said Admiral Murphy, "those other species aren't human." He gestured to Lisa. "Captain Warren, please share your thoughts." Lisa stood, feeling the weight of every eye in the room. Throughout history, humanity has often achieved the impossible when facing overwhelming odds. We don't have the resources to match alien armadas ship for ship, but what we do have is the ability to adapt and think differently. She pointed to the hologram. "This crucible isn't just testing raw power or numbers. It's testing problem-solving and adaptability. If we focus all our resources on 1 perfect ship instead of a dozen adequate ones, we might have a chance." "And who would captain this single ship on a likely suicide mission?" asked President Garcia. Lisa met her gaze. "I would, Madam President." 6 months later, Lisa stood in the observation deck of Earth's orbital shipyard, watching as construction teams swarmed over the hull of the USS Horizon. The ship was unlike anything humans had built before, a blend of Earth technology and principles learned from studying the alien vessel. "Impressive, isn't it?" said Dr. Alan Griffith as he joined her at the window. The physicist had been leading the scientific developments for the mission. His tall, lanky frame and perpetually disheveled brown hair gave him the look of an absent-minded professor, but his mind was among the sharpest on the planet. "Will it be ready in time?" Lisa asked. Alan nodded. "The adaptive hull plating is functioning even better than expected, and the drone systems passed their final tests yesterday. The Horizon wasn't just a spaceship, it was humanity's greatest achievement, a vessel designed to change and adapt. Its hull could reconfigure for different environments. It carried hundreds of specialized drones for exploration and defense. Most importantly, it housed a revolutionary AI system that could learn and adapt at unprecedented rates." "And the crew?" Lisa asked. "Final selection was completed this morning. 100 of Earth's best, just as you requested. Commander Jack." Porter approached them with a tablet in hand. His military bearing and no-nonsense attitude had initially put him at odds with Lisa's more flexible command style, but they had developed a strong working relationship. "Captain, we need to discuss the Viridian ambassador's request to tour the Horizon," he said. Lisa frowned. "The Viridians again? This is the third time they've asked?" The Viridians were a militaristic species on the Galactic Council. Since the announcement that Earth would send only one ship, they had been unusually interested in human preparations. "They're probably taking bets on how quickly we'll fail," Alan said with a wry smile. "Or they're worried we might succeed," Lisa countered. "Deny the request, Jack. Site security protocols." Jack nodded and left to deliver the message. "You think they're worried?" Alan asked once they were alone. Lisa turned back to the viewport. "I think we're doing something none of them expected, and that makes us unpredictable." 2 weeks before launch, Lisa stood before her assembled crew in the Horizon's main hangar bay. 100 faces looked back at her. Scientists, engineers, military personnel, and specialists from dozens of fields. Each person had been chosen not just for their expertise, but for their ability to think creatively under pressure. "Look around you," Lisa said, her voice carrying in the large space. "In this room are the finest minds and bravest hearts Earth has to offer. In 2 weeks we will begin a journey no human has ever attempted." She gestured to the ship behind her. "The USS Horizon is unlike any vessel in the galaxy. While other species rely on overwhelming numbers, we will rely on what has always made humanity great: our ability to adapt, to innovate, and to overcome impossible odds." Samantha Cole, the ship's navigation specialist, raised her hand. "Captain, the galactic representatives are saying we have less than a 2% chance of success. How do we overcome those odds?" Lisa smiled. "Lieutenant Cole, what were the odds of our ancestors crossing vast oceans in wooden ships? What were the odds of flying just a century after we thought it impossible? What were the odds of standing on the moon when we barely understood the stars?" She looked at each of them. "Throughout human history, we have faced challenges that seemed impossible, and each time we found a way. Not because we were stronger or more advanced, but because we refused to accept failure." Chief Engineer Paul Martinez stepped forward. "The Horizon is ready, Captain. She's the best ship humanity has ever built. And she has the best crew," Lisa added. "In 1 year, when we return after completing the Crucible, the Galactic Council won't be asking why we sent just one ship. They'll be asking how one ship was enough." As the crew dispersed to continue preparations, Ambassador Diane Keller approached Lisa. Her diplomatic experience would be crucial for the mission. "The alien observers are still confused by our approach," she said quietly. "The Viridian ambassador actually laughed when I confirmed we're sending just the Horizon." Lisa watched her crew working together, each person focused on their tasks with determination and purpose. "Let them laugh," she said. "They're judging us by their standards, not ours. Throughout history, humanity has accomplished our greatest feats not when we had every advantage, but when we had no choice but to succeed." She turned to Diane with quiet confidence in her eyes. "One ship is all we need." Launch day arrived with clear skies and a sense of purpose that spread across Earth. Billions of people watched their screens as the USS Horizon prepared to leave Earth's orbit. The sleek ship gleamed in the sunlight, its adaptive hull catching the light in ways that made it seem alive. In mission control, Admiral Frank Murphy stood with his hands clasped behind his back. Beside him, alien representatives from 12 species watched with expressions ranging from curiosity to open skepticism. "Your ship is aesthetically pleasing," said Zool, the Aquilari ambassador. His translucent skin rippled as he spoke. "But beauty will not help it survive the crucible." Admiral Murphy didn't respond. His eyes were fixed on the main screen showing Captain Lisa Warren on the Horizon's bridge. She sat calmly in the command chair, reviewing final systems checks with her crew. "Horizon, this is Mission Control. You are cleared for departure," said the flight director. Lisa nodded on screen. "Roger that, Control. Horizon is ready." She turned to her executive officer. "Commander Porter, take us out." Jack Porter's fingers moved across his console. "Engines at full power. Breaking orbit now." The Horizon moved away from Earth with surprising grace for a vessel of its size. As it passed the moon, its engines flared bright blue, accelerating faster than any human ship before it. On the bridge, Lisa watched as Earth shrank to a tiny blue dot. This was the moment everything changed. Humanity was no longer just a species confined to one solar system. They were reaching for the stars, ready to claim their place among advanced civilizations. "Captain," said Lieutenant Samantha Cole from the navigation station. "The Galactic Council has transmitted the coordinates for the Crucible entry point. It's at the edge of the Kuiper Belt." "Set course, Lieutenant," Lisa ordered. "Let's show them what one ship can do." 3 days into the journey, Lisa stood in the Horizon's central lab watching Dr. Alan Griffith demonstrate the ship's most important features to the gathered officers. "What makes the Horizon special isn't just its technology," Alan explained, pushing his glasses up his nose. "It's the way everything works together." He activated a holographic display showing the ship's cross-section. Different systems lit up as he spoke. The hull isn't fixed like traditional spacecraft. It can change shape, density, and even composition. He tapped a control, and the hologram showed the hull shifting and reorganizing. If we encounter radiation, it becomes more protective. If we need speed, it streamlines itself. Chief Engineer Paul Martinez stepped forward. Unlike the academic Griffith, Martinez was practical and hands-on. His calloused hands gestured at the drone bay section of the hologram. "We've got over 200 specialized drones," he explained. "They're extensions of the ship. Some explore, some repair, some defend. They're our extra hands when we need them." Lisa watched her officers' faces as they took in the information. Some looked impressed, others concerned about the experimental nature of their vessel. "And the AI system?" asked Security Chief Eric Nelson, a former Special Forces soldier with a tactical mind. This time Dr. Olivia Wright, their xenobiologist who had helped develop the AI's learning algorithms, answered. "That's our greatest advantage. The Horizon doesn't just have artificial intelligence, it has adaptive intelligence. It learns from every challenge and improves itself." Lisa stepped into the center of the room. "Every species in the Galactic Council approaches problems with overwhelming force. They send hundreds of ships because they expect most to fail. We're trying something different." She met each officer's eyes. The Horizon is designed to learn, adapt, and overcome, just like humanity has always done. Commander Porter raised his hand. "Captain, what if the rumors are true? What if no single ship has ever survived the Crucible because it's impossible?" The room fell silent. It was the question everyone had been avoiding. Lisa smiled. "Then we'll be the first, Commander. Throughout history, humans have done the impossible, when we had no other choice." In the medical bay, Dr. Michelle Foster checked the brain scans of the crew. The Crucible was known to contain areas that affected the mind, causing hallucinations, fear, or confusion. She had developed special mental training techniques to help the crew resist these effects. "How's it looking, Doc?" asked Lieutenant Ben Howard as she examined his scan. "Your resilience scores are good," she said. "But remember the techniques we practiced if you start feeling disoriented." Ben nodded. At 32, he was one of the youngest tactical officers, but his innovative thinking had earned him a place on the mission. "Do you think it's true what they say?" he asked quietly. That the crucible shows you your worst fears? Michelle put down her scanner. I don't know. The aliens haven't shared much about the psychological aspects. But whatever it shows us, we'll face it together. On the ship's observation deck, communications specialist Kevin Reed sat alone, studying alien language patterns. The quiet room with its large windows showing the stars was his favorite place to work. The door opened, and Ambassador Diane Keller walked in. Working late? She asked, sitting beside him. Kevin nodded. I'm trying to understand patterns in the defense systems data the Council provided. Something doesn't add up. What do you mean? Diane asked. These defense systems are thousands of years old, built by a species that disappeared long ago, Kevin explained. Everyone treats them as mindless weapons to be avoided or destroyed. But what if they're trying to communicate? Diane looked surprised. You think the defenses are intelligent? Not exactly. But I think they might respond to signals, not just force. Kevin pulled up a diagram showing signal patterns. Look at this. When the Viridians lost ships, the defense systems activated. In specific sequences, it's almost like a response to their approach. Diane studied the patterns. Have you told the captain? Not yet. I wanted to be sure first. Kevin looked out at the stars. Maybe the crucible isn't just testing if we can fight our way through. Maybe it's testing if we can understand. In her private quarters, Lisa reviewed mission reports late into the night. A soft chime indicated someone at her door. Enter, she called. Dr. Alan Griffith walked in with a concerned expression. Captain, there's something you should see. He placed a data pad on her desk. It showed sensor readings from the ship's long-range scanners. We've detected debris fields ahead at the entrance to the crucible, he explained. Based on the composition, they're the remains of ships. Hundreds of them. Lisa studied the readings. Recent? Alan nodded. Some are, but others appear to be centuries old. The crucible has been claiming ships for a very long time. Lisa was quiet for a moment. Then she handed the pad back to him. Make sure the crew doesn't see this yet, she said. We need them focused. They'll see it eventually, Alan pointed out. Once we're closer. By then they'll be prepared. Lisa stood and walked to her window, looking out at the endless stars. We always knew this wouldn't be easy, Alan. But we have something no other species brought to the crucible. What's that? He asked. Lisa turned to him with determination in her eyes. The human spirit. We don't give up, we don't back down, and we always find a way. As Alan left, Lisa returned to her desk and opened a message from Admiral Murphy. It was brief. The Council is watching. Make us proud. She closed the message and looked at the small photo of Earth she kept on her desk. In 3 days, they would reach the entrance to the crucible. Then the real test would begin. Lisa touched the ship's intercom. Bridge, this is the captain. Increase speed. Let's not keep the galaxy waiting. The USS Horizon slowed as it approached the entrance to the crucible. Through the main view screen, the crew could see a vast field of debris, broken hulls, and twisted metal from countless failed attempts by other species. Sensor scan complete. Captain, reported Lieutenant Samantha Cole. The debris field extends for thousands of kilometers. Lisa Warren stood from her command chair and moved closer to the view screen. Any active defense systems? None detected yet, replied security. Chief Eric Nelson. But there's unusual energy readings deeper in. Lisa nodded. All stations, prepare for crucible entry. This is what we trained for. The bridge crew worked with focused calm. Unlike the panic that might grip others facing such danger, these humans had prepared mentally and physically for this moment. Captain, said Commander Jack Porter, incoming transmission from a Galactic Council observation post. On screen, Lisa ordered. The face of Zorl, the blue-skinned council representative who had first visited Earth, appeared on the view screen. Captain Warren, he said, you have reached the entrance to the crucible. Once you enter, you will be on your own until you either complete the journey or, he paused, or fail. We understand, Lisa replied. I must note again that no species has ever completed the crucible with only one ship, Zoril said. The Viridian representatives have placed a significant wager on your failure within the first challenge. Lisa smiled. Then they're going to lose. Their bet. Horizon out. As the screen returned to the view of space, Lisa addressed her crew. Take us in, nice and easy. Adaptive hull at maximum sensitivity. Drones ready for deployment. The Horizon moved forward, its engines humming softly as it entered the dangerous region. For the first hour, nothing happened. The ship simply navigated through the debris field, sensors constantly scanning for threats. Then, without warning, alarms blared across the bridge. Gravity anomaly detected, shouted Lieutenant Cole. Massive distortion 30 degrees to port. On the view screen, they could see space itself seeming to twist and bend. The horizon began to shake as the gravitational forces pulled at it. Hull stress increasing, reported Chief Engineer Paul Martinez from engineering. Standard hulls would be tearing apart now. Lisa gripped her chair. Activate adaptive reconfiguration. Shape the hull to ride the gravity waves. The outer surface of the horizon began to shift, plates sliding and reorganizing themselves. The shaking lessened as the ship's computers analyzed the gravity patterns and adapted the hull to withstand them. It's working, said Martinez. Hull stress decreasing. Dr. Alan Griffith studied the sensor readings with intense focus. This isn't random, he said. These gravity waves follow a pattern. Can we use that? Lisa asked. Alan nodded slowly. If we time it right, we could ride the gravity waves instead of fighting them, like surfing. Lisa turned to Lieutenant Cole. You heard him, Lieutenant. Let's surf. Cole's fingers flew over her console as she input new navigation parameters. The horizon stopped fighting the gravity waves and instead began to move with them, using their momentum to propel the ship forward. We're actually gaining speed, Cole reported with excitement in her voice. The gravity waves are pushing us through the debris field. On the observation deck, Ambassador Diane Keller watched with several science team members as the ship rode the invisible waves. Unlike other species who would have used brute force to push through, the humans had turned the obstacle into an advantage. Send the telemetry back to Earth, Lisa ordered. Let them see what one ship can do. 3 days into the crucible, the Horizon faced its second major challenge. A massive radiation storm blocked their path, deadly waves of energy that would fry both electronics and living tissue. In the main lab, Dr. Michelle Foster and her medical team worked frantically with engineering to find a solution. We can't go around it, Michelle explained to the captain. It would take months, and our shields won't hold against radiation this intense. Chief Engineer Martinez scratched his beard thoughtfully. What if we don't try to block it? What if we absorb it instead? He called up a schematic of the ship's hull. We could reconfigure the outer hull to collect the radiation energy and feed it into our power systems. Would that work? Lisa asked. In theory, replied Martinez. The hull can change its molecular structure. We could make it attract radiation rather than repel it. Lisa looked at her senior officers. Make it happen. Hours later, the Horizon approached the radiation storm. Its hull now gleamed with an unusual purple sheen as special absorption panels covered its surface. Radiation levels increasing, reported Lieutenant Ben Howard from Tactical, now at 300% of lethal dose. The bridge crew watched nervously as the readings continued to climb. If this didn't work, they would all be dead within minutes. Power systems showing massive energy influx, reported Martinez. The hull is converting radiation to usable power. Lisa smiled. How much power are we gaining? Our batteries are filling. Faster than I can measure, Martinez said with amazement. We could run the ship for months on this energy. As the Horizon passed through the heart of the radiation storm, its hull glowed brightly, drinking in the deadly energy and converting it to power. By the time they emerged on the other side, the ship's energy reserves were completely full. Send this data to the Council observation post, Lisa ordered. Let them see how humans handle radiation. The third challenge came without warning. As the Horizon entered a seemingly empty region of the crucible, Dozens of ancient automated defense platforms suddenly activated, surrounding the ship. "Multiple weapon systems targeting us," shouted Security Chief Nelson. "They're preparing to fire. Evasive maneuvers," Lisa ordered. "Deploy defensive drones." The Horizon released a swarm of small, agile drones that took positions around the larger ship. The defense platforms fired powerful energy beams, but the drones moved to intercept, sacrificing themselves to protect their mothership. "We can't keep this up," Nelson warned. "We'll run out of drones before they run out of firepower." Communications specialist Kevin Reed had been working quietly at his station. Now he looked up with excitement. "Captain, remember my theory about the defense systems communicating?" "What about it?" Lisa asked as the ship shook from a near miss. "I've been analyzing their firing patterns," Kevin explained quickly. "They're not random. They follow specific sequences, like a language." He typed rapidly on his console. "I think I can send a response using similar patterns. Tell them we're not a threat." Lisa hesitated for only a moment. "Do it," Kevin sent. A series of encoded energy pulses toward the nearest defense platform. For a tense moment, nothing happened. Then, one by one, the platform stopped firing. "They're powering down their weapons," Nelson reported with disbelief. Kevin looked up in amazement. "They understood us. All these years, species have been fighting these platforms when they just needed to answer correctly." Lisa placed a hand on Kevin's shoulder. "Well done, specialist. You just saved our ship." As the Horizon continued deeper into the Crucible, word of its progress spread through the Galactic Council. The single human ship had survived 3 major challenges that had destroyed entire fleets from other species. In her quarters that night, Lisa reviewed the day's reports. A message from the Council observation post caught her attention. "The Viridian delegation has withdrawn their wager on your immediate destruction. They now wish to know what other surprises humans might have prepared." Lisa smiled to herself. The journey was far from over, but humanity had made its first impression on the galaxy, and it was one they wouldn't forget. After 2 weeks in the Crucible, the USS Horizon entered a region of eerie calm. The ship's systems hummed quietly as the crew took a moment to breathe. They had survived challenges that had destroyed entire alien fleets, but everyone knew the journey was far from over. Captain Lisa Warren stood in the Memorial Garden, a small room where plants from Earth grew under special lights. 3 plaques hung on the wall, tributes to crew members lost during their journey. Despite their success, the Crucible had taken its toll. Commander Jack Porter found her there, staring at the names. "Captain, long-range sensors have detected something unusual ahead," he said softly. Lisa nodded. "I'll be right there." On the bridge, the main screen showed a strange cloud floating in space. It shimmered with a silver glow, particles moving in complex patterns. "What are we looking at, Dr. Griffith?" Lisa asked as she took her seat. Alan adjusted his glasses. "According to our scans, it's a cloud of nanomachines, billions of tiny robots working together." "Hostile?" Lisa asked. "Unknown," Alan replied. "But it blocks our path completely." Lieutenant Samantha Cole spoke up from navigation. "Captain, based on the Council's star charts, going around this cloud would add 3 months to our journey." Lisa frowned. 3 months they didn't have. Earth was expecting them back within the year. "Can we destroy it?" asked Security Chief. Eric Nelson. Dr. Olivia Wright, who had been studying the readings, shook her head. "I don't recommend that. These nanomachines show signs of collective intelligence. Attacking them might provoke a response we can't handle." Lisa tapped her fingers on the armrest of her chair, thinking. "Options? I might have one," said Chief Engineer Paul Martinez. "But you're not going to like it." He brought up a schematic on the screen. The nanomachines seem to ignore debris and non-powered objects. If we shut down all our systems completely, we might drift through unnoticed. "Shut down everything?" Commander Porter asked with alarm. "Life support? Navigation? Even the emergency systems?" Martinez nodded grimly. "Everything. We'd be completely vulnerable." The senior officers exchanged worried glances. "How long would we be powerless?" Lisa asked. "At least 6 hours to drift through the cloud," Martinez answered. Lisa stood and walked closer to the view screen, studying the shimmering cloud. Prepare the ship. We shut down in 1 hour. The USS Horizon floated silently through space, every system powered down. Inside, the crew waited in darkness, wearing thermal suits to protect against the dropping temperature. Only the faint glow of emergency chemical lights broke the blackness. In the bridge, Lisa and her senior officers watched their breath form clouds in the cold air. Without power, the ship was quickly becoming an icebox. Status? Lisa whispered to Martinez, though. There was no need to keep quiet in the vacuum of space. Hull temperature down to -40 degrees, he replied, checking a handheld device. But the nanomachines aren't reacting to us. The plan is working. Dr. Michelle Foster moved among the bridge crew, checking their condition. Everyone's core temperature is holding, but we can't stay like this much longer. Lisa nodded. 4 hours had passed already, but they were only halfway through the cloud. The ship drifted on its pre-calculated path, utterly helpless. Suddenly, Lieutenant Ben Howard pointed to the view screen. Look, some of the nanomachines had broken from the cloud and were approaching the ship. They swirled around the hull, almost like they were curious. Don't move, Lisa whispered. No one does anything. The tiny machines continued their inspection, eventually gathering near the ship's main sensor array. To everyone's surprise, they began to form shapes. First simple geometric patterns, then more complex structures. They're trying to communicate, said communications specialist Kevin Reed in awe. But we can't respond without power, Commander Porter pointed out. Ensign Grace Chen, a young engineer who had been quiet until now, spoke up. Maybe we can. She pulled out a small personal device. This isn't connected to the ship's systems. It has its own tiny power source. We could use it to send simple light patterns. Lisa looked at Kevin. Would that work? He nodded slowly. Worth trying. They seemed curious, not hostile. With careful movements, Grace and Kevin worked together, using the small device to send pulses of light toward the nanomachines. After several attempts, the machines responded by mimicking the patterns. Basic communication established, Kevin said excitedly. They're intelligent. For the next hour, as the ship continued to drift through the cloud, Kevin and Grace maintained their primitive conversation with the nanomachines. Eventually, the tiny robots formed what looked like a path in front of the ship. A corridor through their cloud. I think they're helping us, Grace said. Lisa made a decision. Martinez, power up navigation and minimal propulsion only. Let's follow their path. The ship's systems hummed back to life, and the Horizon carefully moved along the corridor created by the nanomachines. Instead of 6 hours, they cleared the cloud in less than 30 minutes. Once safely past, the crew cheered as all systems came back online and warmth returned to the ship. They tested us, Lisa realized. They wanted to see if we would try to force our way through or find another solution. 3 days later, the Horizon approached what appeared to be an ancient space station. Its design was unlike anything in the Council's database, with sweeping curves and structures that seemed to defy physics. Scans show it's at least 50,000 years old, reported Alan. But parts of it are still powered. Life signs? Lisa asked. Alan looked up in surprise. Yes, very faint but definite life signs. There's someone alive on that station. Ambassador Diane Keller joined them on the bridge. The Council records mention a species called the architects who built great structures before disappearing. This could be one of their last outposts. Long-range scans revealed technology on the station that could significantly help their mission. Advanced navigational data, energy systems beyond current understanding, and possibly even weapons to defend against the challenges ahead. We should send a team to salvage what we can, suggested Commander Porter. This technology could ensure our success. Dr. Ryan Jackson, the ship's anthropologist, spoke up from his station. Captain, these life signs indicate a small population in hibernation. If we disturb them or take their technology, we might be condemning the last members of an ancient species. Lisa faced a difficult choice. Taking the technology could greatly increase their chances of completing the crucible. But doing so might harm whatever beings still survived on the station. Prepare a contact team, she finally ordered. Dr. Jackson, you'll lead. Ambassador Keller, you'll join as well. Your mission is to establish communication, not salvage. We don't take anything without permission. Porter looked concerned. Captain, with respect, the Crucible is only getting more dangerous. We need every advantage. We need to remain human, Commander, Lisa replied firmly. If we abandon our ethics to complete this journey, then we've already failed the true test. As the team prepared to visit the ancient station, Lisa received a message from the Council observation post. It was brief, but telling. Your approach is being monitored closely. Many species are now studying your methods. Lisa smiled. The message confirmed what she had suspected all along. The Crucible wasn't just testing their technology or courage. It was testing their character. Set a course for the station, she ordered. Let's show the galaxy what humans truly stand for. The USS Horizon emerged from the final challenge of the Crucible, its hull scarred but intact. The region where physics itself seemed altered had nearly destroyed them, but Ensign Grace Chen's unusual solution using musical harmonics had guided them through safely. On the bridge, the exhausted crew watched as the Galactic Council's reception station came into view. They had done it, completed the journey that no single ship had ever survived before. Open a channel, Captain Lisa Warren ordered, her voice tired but proud. The main screen lit up to show Zoral and representatives from a dozen alien species. Their expressions showed various degrees of shock and amazement. Captain Warren, Zoral said, his skin patterns shifting rapidly, and what they had learned was a sign of strong emotion. The Council acknowledges your successful navigation of the Crucible. Your ship and crew are officially welcome to Council space. Lisa smiled. Thank you, Representative Zoral. The USS Horizon is honored to be the first human vessel to earn this recognition. A Viridian representative pushed forward, his reptilian features stern. We have one question that puzzles all species of the Council. Why did humanity send just one ship when the trial has destroyed fleets from even the most advanced civilizations? Lisa looked around at her bridge crew, the people who had faced impossible odds and survived through ingenuity and determination. The answer is simple, she said. Throughout human history, we've learned that more isn't always better. When facing great challenges, what matters isn't the number of attempts but the quality of your approach. She stood addressing the aliens with quiet confidence. We recognized that the Crucible wasn't testing brute force. It was testing adaptation and problem solving. By concentrating all our resources on one vessel, we created something far more advanced than a fleet of conventional ships. Dr. Allen, Griffith stepped forward. Our ship is not the same vessel that left Earth. With each challenge, it has learned and evolved. The horizon that stands before you now is fundamentally different from the one that entered the Crucible. To demonstrate, Allen activated a display showing the ship's journey. The aliens watched as the Horizon systems adapted to each new threat, reconfiguring its hull against gravity waves, absorbing radiation for power, communicating with defense systems rather than fighting them. Most importantly, Lisa continued, humanity has always thrived when backed into a corner with limited resources. It's when we have only one chance that we perform at our best. Ambassador Diane Keller joined them. The Council now has a choice. Will you continue to face challenges the old way, with overwhelming numbers accepting massive losses? Or will you learn from Earth's approach, sending exactly what is needed, designed to adapt and overcome? The Council chamber fell silent as the aliens considered her words. Finally, Zoral spoke. Captain Warren, the Council has reached a decision. Humanity is granted full membership status. Furthermore, we request that Earth lead a new initiative to explore regions of space previously thought impossible to navigate. He paused, his patterns shifting to bright colors. It seems we have much to learn from your species. As the transmission ended, cheers erupted across the horizon. They had not only survived but changed the Galactic Council itself. Lisa looked out at the stars through the view screen. Set course for home, she ordered. Let's tell Earth what one ship can accomplish. The Horizon's engines hummed to life as it turned toward distant Earth. Behind them, Council ships moved closer, studying the human vessel with new respect. What had started as a desperate gamble had become humanity's greatest strength, the ability to turn limitations into advantages. Just one ship had been enough, because it was human.